Okay, so you might not realize this, but at this very moment, somebody is trying to hijack your brain. Seriously, not with force, but with something way, way more subtle. A series of tiny, almost meaningless requests. It's a kind of mind control that's happening to you and to me every single day.
I mean, that sounds like something straight out of a spy movie, right? But here's the thing. This isn't science fiction. It's a very real psychological principle. And it's actually the secret weapon behind everything from street hypnotists to the very algorithms that are running your social media feed right now.
So, the big question is, why do we fall for it? Well, it all starts with something that behavioral experts call the firewall illusion. You know that little voice in your head that says, "Oh, I'm too smart for that," or "Ads don't work on me." That exact belief, that feeling of being immune, that's the crack in the armor that manipulators just love to exploit.
And look, this illusion is so incredibly dangerous because we're walking into a totally unfair fight. Our brains, our basic wiring, are pretty much the same as they were 200,000 years ago. But what are we up against? We're going up against trillion-dollar supercomputers and algorithms that have been meticulously designed with one and only one goal: persuasion. It's a battle we're not really programmed to win.
So how in the world do they get past our defenses so easily? Well, it all comes down to this deceptively simple formula. And you can forget the swinging pocket watches and all the mysterious chanting. Real-world hypnosis, whether it's happening on a street corner or on your phone screen, is just a combination of two things: getting you to focus and something called micro-compliances.
This idea right here, this is the absolute key to the whole thing. A micro-compliance is just a tiny yes. It's an action you take without even thinking about it. It feels completely harmless, right? But what it's really doing is training your brain to follow instructions from someone or something else. It's building this invisible pattern of obedience, one tiny little step at a time.
Let's look at a classic example to see how this works. The street hypnotist. They don't just walk up and give you some big command. No. They start small. "Hey, can you stand over here for me? Just move your feet apart a little." Each request is, on its own, totally meaningless. But each one gets a quiet yes from your subconscious. Now, after 10 or 15 of these in a row, your brain is totally primed to comply. That's when they lock your focus and start saying things that appeal to your ego, making you feel smart and special for just going along with it.
And this is the part you really have to get. This is so crucial. The game is already won before you even realize you're playing. The compliance, the obedience, it's all been trained completely below the level of your conscious awareness. Your logical defenses weren't smashed down with one big push. They were just quietly bypassed by a whole series of tiny, invisible steps.
Okay, so let's take this old-school technique off the street corner and put it right where it is this very second, in the palm of your hand. Because this exact formula has been industrialized, scaled up, and it's now being used on you every single time you unlock your phone.
Now, the goals are a little different, sure, but the method, it's identical. A street performer wants your compliance for maybe a few minutes. An algorithm, on the other hand, wants your continuous attention. But they both get what they want the exact same way, by training you with micro-compliances. Every scroll you make, every like, every share, that's a tiny yes that just keeps you engaged and obedient to the feed.
But it gets even crazier. Social media platforms add another, much more powerful layer on top of this. It's a technique called fractionation. Think of it like hypnotic interval training. They don't just put you in a trance, they pull you in and then push you out, over and over again. And with every single cycle, the trance gets deeper, your focus gets narrower, and you become way more suggestible.
Here's exactly how they do it. The algorithm feeds you a couple of great videos, right? Bam, a funny one. Bam, a cute one. Your dopamine levels spike. You feel good, you're locked in. And then it intentionally shows you something kind of boring, something that makes your dopamine level just drop. You hit an emotional low point. It's a roller coaster they designed just for you.
And why would they engineer this whole up and down experience? Because that precise moment, that little dip in your emotional state, that's when your critical thinking is at its absolute weakest. You're more open to suggestion. And that, my friend, is the perfect moment for the algorithm to slide in an ad. It is frighteningly effective. Okay, so that's the problem. It sounds pretty bleak, I know. But the good news is, just knowing the formula is the first, most important step to defending yourself against it. So let's talk about how to build a real mental firewall, not just the illusion of one. And the number one thing you have to burn into your brain is this. The threat doesn't look like some villain in a dark cloak trying to control you. No, the real threat looks like a notification. It looks like a harmless button. It looks like a little request to just watch one more.
It is always the small stuff that gets you. So here it is. Here is your mental firewall checklist. First, just start to recognize when you're being led through a chain of these small yeses. Second, you have to become ruthlessly aware of what you're really agreeing to with every single click and scroll. Ask yourself, who benefits from me doing this right now? And finally, start paying attention to that emotional roller coaster when you're online. Notice the highs, but more importantly, notice the lows, because they are being engineered.
When it all boils down, it really comes down to this. Your focus is your most valuable asset, and right now, there's a full-on war for it. The whole goal of these systems is to just bypass your rational thinking mind and talk directly to your subconscious. Your job is to not let them.
So as you go about your day, just start to notice. Notice the little nudges, the tiny requests for your attention, and ask yourself, who's pulling your strings? Because I promise you, once you start looking for it, you will see it happening absolutely everywhere.